So these days, if you're thinking about computers, especially in a place like YouTube, you're probably also thinking about enthusiasts obsessed with every detail of what makes them work. Whether you're looking into your first gaming PC or you're a seasoned veteran who's been popping heads for longer than I have, you've probably come across hundreds of videos that all share a similar message. You should build it yourself. Maybe you love a graphics-heavy title like Cyberpunk that requires serious specs, or maybe you just want to shoot dudes in Valorant on a computer that you can really call your own. There are thousands of nerds like us who build PCs themselves. And you might be surprised to learn that that goes all the way back to the early 1990s.
This is how you build a personal computer, right? With modern assembly line production. Wrong. You can also do it yourself. Get yourself a case, a motherboard, some memory, a disk drive, a graphics card, and you can get exactly the computer you want.
But as gaming, and especially competitive gaming, exploded in the 2000s, we started to see higher and higher demand for computers or home consoles to play those games. And we've come a long way. These days, high-powered machines are easier to access than ever before, games are better optimized, and esports are bigger than ever. But how did we get here? And if all you want to do is just click heads in your favorite FPS, do you really need to build an entire computer all by yourself? Let's find out. Okay, so before we get into the video, I want to thank our friends over at iBuyPower. iBuyPower makes high-quality pre-built PCs that aren't just good for pro-level Valorant. They're also great for work, school, and basically anything you need a sick PC for. If you use the code theScore August over at iBuyPower.com, you can get 5% off customs over $999 and $50 off of RDYs over $999. Give them a look. So anyway, most of the people watching this video probably aren't this old school, but I want to start all the way back at the very beginning, or at least the beginning for some of us boomers in the office. Way back in the day, if you wanted to play competitive games with your friends, playing seriously online wasn't always an option. And if you're a certain kind of nerd or a member of the San Antonio Spurs, your solution was LAN parties.
Cause they can't get into my base, man.
Why don't you build some more stuff, Tim? You got plenty of money, build some more tanks and Goliaths.
Do you know this map by heart now?
Yeah. I don't. I just saw it. I just seen it. He's laughing. See, don't be cheating, man.
Yes, before every new game had pristine multiplayer or otherworldly netcode, we did things the old-fashioned way, by lugging our towers or prehistoric laptops across town to an event or a friend's basement. And sure, it was fun. Like, really fun. But let me tell you, that shit also kind of sucked. And let's remember that this was also a time when consumer machines were, by and large, not designed for gamers. So if you were willing to put in the work to drive a computer across your city, chances were you were also interested in making that machine as powerful as possible. And to give you more info on how to make that happen, here's the only guy who is old and nerdy enough that he was actually building PCs instead of just going to LAN cafes like the rest of us.
And now, the guy who actually knows what he's talking about.
Says the guy who is doing a PhD in medieval literature. Also, aren't we just the same age? Anyways, yes. I am old enough to remember a time that consumer PCs just weren't designed for gamers. And when games didn't always cooperate. I was around at a time when multiple monitors running the same game was revolutionary, and also sort of didn't work.
At the time, it would have been like maybe like the GTX 680 and the Radeon 7970 era, where these cards were being equipped with like 2 or 4 gigabytes of video memory, and you could run like triple 1080 or triple 1440 monitors, and like on paper the card should be able to support it, but you'd run out of video memory and then the game would run at like 2 frames per second.
By the early 2010s, PC gaming and esports had exploded in North America, and a lot of us were learning how to, well, not do this.
Oh, no.
The pace is gone. F me, dude.
Meanwhile, PC parts were becoming more and more available and increasingly powerful. But even with more consumer-grade computer parts entering the market, sourcing and building a rig in which those parts work well together isn't always easy. I've spent probably too much time on PC Part Picker. And don't even get me started on troubleshooting things when they do inevitably go wrong. There is a special kind of terror that comes with having to flash the BIOS on a brand new motherboard or taking apart your precious PC piece by piece to find a defect. that shit is stressful. The good news is that these days, you don't have to spend weeks tracing a random blue screen of death in your new build back to incompatible RAM sticks. But for now, I'm gonna send it back to the guy who never has.
And that was the guy who actually knows what he's talking about.
Oh, okay, so it's like that, all right? Brother, I have built several PCs. It's just every time something goes wrong with them, I have to ask you to fix them. Now, most of you probably know that there are a lot of really solid pre-builds on the market these days. You can find them basically anywhere. What you may not know is that even way back in the day, there were alternatives to losing sleep over thermal paste application. And well, you guessed it, I'm gonna talk about the sponsor of this video. iBuyPower was founded all the way back in 1999, selling custom-built computers with gamers specifically in mind. Gamers would select the components and needs of their machine, and then experts would deal with the stress. Over time, that business expanded into retail locations and eventually the pre-builts that you know them for today. But meanwhile, esports was expanding as well. And as the industry exploded in North America, iBuyPower were about to dive right in.
I'm looking at the PR guy.
Look, you know the story. In 2013, iBuyPower got into the Counter-Strike space directly by sponsoring the X-Denial Squad. Over the course of the next few months, that team gradually put together a roster of promising North American talent built around the prodigy Swag, whose star looked ready to skyrocket. It was all great. Until...
Doesn't go for the shot. He's going to try and get the flank off. He's going to have two right there. Can they line up for him? What is he doing? Why did he hesitate so much? Doesn't matter. Has the CZ. Gets one. Gets taken down.
This is the part where I'm going to say, on behalf of our sponsors, that if you didn't know, iBuyPower really had nothing to do with the match fixing scandal. They just sponsored the team. That's it. But after everything went down, iBuyPower stickers were suddenly worth hundreds, thousands. They're how much now? F me.
Say that we chose the partnership because we can't have a team anymore.
Memes aside, years after the dust had settled on the iBuyPower CSGO team, the company was looking to see what was up and coming in the world of esports. And then they came to Valorant.
I wanted to be the cool uncle, and I listened to kids around me talk about what they like. They all like different things. But then I heard Valorant keep on coming up, Valorant this, and I'd be like, oh yeah, maybe this is something that we should look into. And I spoke with some of our marketing executives, and they're like, hey, yeah, this is something new to the company that we're willing to try out.
And now, iBuyPower is the official PC for the 2024 VCT Americas season as of the start of the year. Again, they are also the sponsor of this video. They flew us out to LA, which helped us tell a ton of stories, including this one. So shout outs to them. Now, a lot of time and effort goes into a sponsorship like this one. So iBuyPower sourced the ultimate PC for pros to use in VCT Americas, fitting them with some beefy 4070 Ti Supers and 32 gigabytes of DDR5 RAM, along with AMD's Ryzen 7 7800 X3D. And while those specs may not mean a lot to you, they definitely mean a lot to the pro players.
When you're at the top, every little bit of performance matters, like from the hardware side. Back in the day when we played online games, so like everyone was at home, had their own setup. I remember if people didn't have good computers on our team and like they were getting exec on, they would just start complaining. It's like, oh, I have no FPS, like all these smokes are everywhere. So it definitely helps. Obviously everyone's on the same playing field, and it's you know, it's good.
But you're probably wondering what any of this has to do with you. Why does a logo on a machine on stage make a difference? Maybe it doesn't. But that's also not the point. You see, these days, more than ever before, the truth is that you really don't have to build a machine yourself. Sure, you'll have more control over the parts, but pre-builts are often similar in price, and games are more optimized than ever. If you want a middle-of-the-road or more affordable machine that will just allow you to click heads in Valorant with a reasonable frame rate, a company like iBuyPower is probably going to be the best bang for your buck. And honestly, that's a good thing. Long gone are the days of walking into a big box store and just seeing nothing of use to you. Now, there is also a very real joy and sense of accomplishment that comes with building it yourself. A lot of people, myself included, that work here at theScore Esports do build their own PCs, and we aren't here to dissuade you if that's your hobby. But right now, more than any other point in gaming history, there really are fewer barriers between you and the thing you want to play. And that's really cool. In many ways, fans of competitive games are really sort of in a golden age right now. We have more options when it comes to these machines than ever before. People all over the world have access to the equipment and internet infrastructure needed to get into whatever game they want. And that means more players on the come up, more talent, and more stories. And we can't wait to see what's next.
Thanks for watching. If you want more content like this, hit the sub button and ring that notification bell. For unique bite-sized videos you won't find anywhere else, hit up our Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook pages.